Yeah, no problem.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Two Legs Live edition, and
A Fab
a
Four focused two
Fab
legs.
for Focus. There you go, my friend. As we all know, we mainly deal with Paul's solo career, but when we get these big announcements, we got to go with it. Obviously Paul was a Beatle, so we want to talk about Revolver, the
Gotta.
next the next box set, Revolver.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, it's finally out there. It's unofficially official.
Yeah. Unofficially official. I'm sure everybody has seen the rumored set, track listing here on this box set. So Andy.
I gotta tell you, if they were these guys were actually sworn with like the the new the neutral codes to
Right.
keep everything under secret, they'd fail miserably because the track listing is going to be the track listing. That's what it's going to
Right.
be. Come on, we know that's what it is. I mean,
Right.
so it's in this age of keeping things hush hush. This ain't even the '90s. It's out there. It's done. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, you can't, especially with, some insiders that are on the Hoffman forum, that they'll spill some beans from now and then,
some some
from time to
insiders,
time. Yeah,
some insiders who might even be authors that we might know, who might have even been at the
right,
fest, who writes books on the Beatles. Wink,
right.
wink, Bruce Spicer. Coincidentally, he writes a book on Revolver from Rubber Soul to Revolver, and then we get it.
Right.
So something tells me Bruce has got some inside info, which is cool if he does.
Hmm.
Somebody's got to have it. But I have to say, right off the bat, I'm probably looking forward to this as much as Sergeant Pepper and White Album. Not that I didn't enjoy Abbey Road and Let It Be, as I texted you earlier today.
Right, right.
Those are two box sets I don't go back to that much. I don't Let It Be or Abbey Road. Those were sonically great albums,
Yeah,
but
I mean that's
you know,
the Abbey Road did not. I mean, when I heard Abbey Road was getting the treatment, I was like, this does not need any more anything. Don't just mess with it. It's perfect the way it is. You
it
know,
did. It didn't, and
but
it didn't give you a whole lot in terms of the bang for buck and the bonus material. The Abbey Road
right,
was the well was raw. We kind of got the best of what was out there between the
right,
anthologies and everything else. So, and Let It Be, of course, has been bootlegged for how long, and we got the best
right.
of the best out of that too. Other than
Absolutely.
the what you call it, the Glenn Johns mix, which I thought was very good.
Right, right.
But they've all been
So
put together great. But sonically, to listen to something, I think Pepper and the White Album, and now this will be in that same class.
this
I
will
don't know if
be in
you
that
would.
game
I don't know if you
category,
agree, but
probably. Yeah, it'll be up there. Absolutely. So, hello, everybody out there. Music Sound Gear, Oliver, Henry, Jeremy, Tony, Punk Guy, Heidi. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining us. And, well, we've got somebody joining us, right? On screen here.
we do. We do. We have a guest appearance to discuss the live news, and some of you, most of you, all know him pretty well. So let's bring him on stage now. There he is.
Hello.
Hi, 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 guys. Thanks
Hey,
very
Joe.
much.
Yes,
Appreciate you inviting me on.
No problem.
absolutely. No
That's the
problem.
Joe, otherwise known as Mean Mr. Mayo, on his YouTube channel, which most of everybody here commenting knows Joe and interacts with him. And what say you, Joe? What's your first take on Revolver? Instant take.
Greatly excited about it. I had a feeling that they would go for Rubber Soul and Revolver
Right.
before they did the earlier albums. And yeah, it turned out to be the case.
Hmm.
Excellent. You
Oliver
know,
asks us a question. Do you think it's a coincidence that the Revolver box was announced the same day that the Let It Be box was announced a year ago? Well, it actually hasn't been announced yet.
right.
I mean, it's been announced, but not officially.
Right.
Yeah, not official. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't get the when we get the official track listing. I mean, that's for
I mean, all we
me
have is the
when it's
variety, the
official.
variety article that was
Right.
shared that was
Exactly.
late last night. And I got to give a shout out and a thanks to our friend Dylan Seavey. I was long asleep, but I woke up to a text from him saying, "It's out, it's announced." He texted me like at midnight. So, thank you,
Yeah,
Dylan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Susan, how you doing? Farrell, buddy, good to see you guys. I saw Beat Bailey. I saw James here as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you, Matthew. Good to see you guys. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Joe and I, we were part of a show last night for Ken Michaels Radio. We talked about what we thought was the best album from the Beatles, and I picked Revolver. And I'm glad to see that. Yeah, it's getting. We knew it was coming though, right? We heard that Rubber Soul and Revolver was coming from Giles, I think earlier this year or late
Yeah,
last.
he even said, like, he tweeted and said, "Oh, I can't confirm that I'm working on it, but
Right.
remember he said, watch this space." Like
Right.
he didn't say that it was coming, but he said that it would be coming eventually, and that
Right.
hey, the technology and all that other stuff that he was talking about years ago, we'll see how he does with this new composite mix.
Right.
This 2022 stereo mix, which will be just kind of what we got, this new hybrid kind of sounding stuff that we got, with this kind of mashup between mono and stereo that we got, that was so wonderfully done on Pepper and the White Album.
Right. Absolutely. So
a couple of questions here to catch up on
ahead.
comments.
Right, go
Matthew Bazell asked, does this mean we won't get a McCartney archive release in 2022?
Well,
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I mean, let's go back to 2018, right, where we got Egypt Station, right, and plus we got what wasn't that? Was that the year we got Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway?
Big Barn Box, yeah, that was the same year.
Big Barn Box, yeah, that was the same year. So I mean, it doesn't. I mean, and then plus we got the White Album box set as well. So
and the Imagine,
that was
box.
a fun fourth quarter, Joe, wasn't it? But Joe, you got one of them for free, right?
Did you get that one for free too, Joe? Or no?
Wait a minute, I don't think the Imagine one was. No, that was before that.
That was before
period.
that. But
then
okay.
I think when I did the Give Me Some Truth review video, Sean Lennon liked it, and I have to say it wasn't because it was praising it, although I liked a lot of it. He also said to me when he wrote, he appreciated that I was willing to say what I didn't like about it.
Right.
Then he was explaining to me in an email his decisions as to why a lot of them were his decisions, and that's all I can say about that. It was a fun email, and then I started getting a couple of complimentary gifts from the Lennon estate.
That's awesome. I wish the other camps would do that too.
Yeah.
But that's
MPL. Hi, how you doing? Got two guys right here.
I'll take it, MPL
now. You can't, Joe.
No,
I know. On one side.
I know.
Anyways, but yeah, great news today, Andy. Let's talk about Rubber Soul. You've got quite a few of them. I mean, you got quite a
Revolver, you mean?
Yeah, thank you, Revolver. Yeah, see, there you go. But you got quite a few Revolvers over there, don't you?
I do. I have quite a few. I'm a proud owner recently of an original 1966 UK pressing, a mono, that I got a couple of years back. And it's the mono. It's UK because it's got the white backing and, of course, the nice Parlophone label on here as well as I gently hold it up. So,
look at that.
Yeah. So it's that's an original mono from '66 from the UK. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, how many do you guys, Joe? I asked you, how many do you have, Joe?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I mean, you know how it is sometimes. More than I need, but as a collector. What the hell? I have a Japanese one. I remember back in the day in the late 70s, when I first got a hold of the Japanese one, and like all the Japanese vinyl, it was such a revelation in how crisp and clean the sound quality was.
This one's pretty special. This is and again, the American one we know is inferior because there's 3 less John songs on it. Of course, It's just not as good of a record. But this is an American copy, sealed stereo. I don't know if you can tell that it's sealed. A sealed stereo copy.
Promo. That might be a promo
with the clip. With the hole punch.
With the hole punch, and it's sealed. So this one's pretty special, even though it's the American one without the 3 less John songs on it. But yeah, this is holy grail stuff for me, even though it's not as good as a record.
Which I always have to add. I added it last night. I'll add it again. In America, yesterday and today, we had already gotten a sneak peek by having those songs ahead of Revolver.
That's why they're not on there, because you got them on yesterday and today. So yeah, I have just a couple other generic, copies. I think I have an '80s repressing which you can tell it's got the '80s Super Saver thing on it.
Yeah, that's probably what I had there back in the late '80s.
When you were an
It was
'80s
the
kid,
lady. Yeah.
you bought them with this, and they had
Oh, absolutely.
the retro Capitol label was on these. The rainbow was
Right.
back again on these. So if you were an '80s child, you got them on this.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm a big fan of stickers, right?
Yes.
But I don't like stickers though, like the nice price. And
No.
super savers.
Super Savers.
Like it's a cheap, I want to get rid of this,
The nice
Right.
price was a legendary sticker, though, man.
the nice price. Yeah.
Well, we got a couple more people joining us. Hello, Mark. The Queen is here. Hello, our boy Harry. We've got Caitlin. Hello, Caitlin. Glad to see you. Sam,
Hello,
our buddy
Kit.
Sam.
Hello.
Yeah, everybody. Thanks for popping in.
And Mark made a comment there, which he's right, about the says, but Joe, the mixes of the Revolver tracks on Yesterday and Today were not the final mixes. Different backwards bits, and I'm only sleeping, for instance. The quality wasn't very good on them, I guess. One of the first things I noticed when I got, and I think it was the Japanese one of Revolver.
Okay.
Boy, when I heard I'm only sleeping, it just the backwards guitar and everything was so good.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm only sleeping on a regular version of Yesterday and Today. Sounds like it's so bad. It's just not a good mix of that song. It's horrible. That's a case where there's too much echo. I like some of those echoes on those earlier Beatle albums, but when a kid, I'm only sleeping, compared to what's on Revolver is night and day.
Mhm.
So Joe, I mean, you're 70s, going up in the 70s. You said you always said that you listened to the American Revolver first, right?
It's all he was exposed to, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're exposed to. But I mean, when you did hear the UK one, I mean, what were your thoughts on the UK version after hearing the American for so long?
Oh, I liked it much better than the U.S. version. Obviously, more tracks, but you could say on the other hand, Rubber Soul. I've always preferred the U.S.
Yeah.
version. I
Yeah.
just like having I've just seen a face and it's only love opening those sides so much. I like that. But yeah, I thought it was great because you had more John. I like
Right.
John and everything.
Right.
But I've always understood, even though I didn't collect in the '60s when they first were coming out, as an American fan, I guess I would think that most of them, they still were wowed by Revolver. It still had Tomorrow Never Knows there, and She Said for John, so it was still a step up, and they could tell the changes, right? I imagine, they didn't know any different, and it was fine with them. And plus, like I say, not to be redundant, but they'd already heard it on Yesterday and Today anyway.
Right. So it wasn't like you were missing out because you already heard it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first couple times listening to Revolver there in the late '80s, and just being so, blown away by how the difference between that and then those earlier Beatles albums, just how far they came from like I say, even A Hard Day's Night, with the Beatles, and then just this big transformation, that progression. I love, and I wanted to say this last night when we were with Ken, but I just love that countdown from George on Taxman, and how different it is compared to Paul's countdown for I Saw Her Standing There,
right,
on the first album,
on the first album compared
and
to
then
this
you
one.
hear you hear it's so different, and you're in for a completely different experience.
This is this. I don't know if that was the intent, but this is the first time in my life here that I've ever thought, hey, I wonder if that was the idea. Like, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 with I Saw Her Standing There. Now we have a different one, and we'll set it up for Taxman. I never gave that, like, it was a thought that it was similar till you said it.
It's certainly an opening with a George original.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's
highly, another first time. Open up.
And hello, Mazzy. By the way, I did a nice talk with Mazzy this morning on Rachel's Ghost. There was a nice talk we had with the Beatles there this morning.
Ah, okay. Very good.
Cool.
So hello, Mazzy. Good to see you.
Mazzy's here. Exactly, Kit. The remakes and the outtakes. Mark 1 is actually, as it was known before it became the title, known as Mark 1. Tomorrow Never Knows. But it's an album that really, listen, that if when you get Leonard Bernstein talking about Revolver, that you know that the album has had impact when a classical composer is talking about it. If anybody's seen it, it's a documentary called Inside Pop: The Rock Revolution, and it came out in '67. And it features Brian Wilson and the Byrds and the Beach Boys, but he also talks about some tracks on Revolver, "Got to Get You Into My Life," and "She Said, She Said." And that's Leonard Bernstein kind of giving praise, which initially he didn't want to with the Beatles when they first came out. But here he is. I mean, it's on YouTube, and I'm sure some of our aficionados here have seen that documentary. And it's just to see him play the track and play "She Said, She Said" and talk about how original what they were doing and the melodies and how it was so unique to come up with these kind of chord structures, with the "She Said, She Said," like almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, and going back. So it's, if you haven't seen that documentary, check it out. It's worth it.
That reminds me, if you said, he probably wouldn't want to give them credit, up until then. It reminds me of the scene in the Ruddles where he goes up to the college professor, whatever, and he comes in and closes the door on the guy's shirt. I have a feeling that's what he probably would have wanted to do, before that is. But yeah, so let's get
Oliver
to
Oliver has a question here. Do you think they'll include Rain and Paperback Writer as bonus tracks? Well, if you look, we've got a possibly leaked, track listing that's out there, and that includes it on the bonus EP that they're throwing out there. Again, they're doing the Let It Be thing again, where we're getting a 5-song bonus EP, 4-track bonus EP as a disc.
And if that comes to be, I notice already people are complaining about that in the comments. It's inevitable. People are going to say, "Oh, why didn't we get this?" I've heard people already writing, "Is there going to be a Blu-ray? No Blu-ray? No 5.1? No what? All kinds of things."
Yeah, no videos for Paperback Writer and Rain.
And no live tracks from Germany. Why not live in Germany? And I'm thinking that I don't need that for this release.
No.
So you want to go over the track, what we got there, Andy,
sure.
what the proposed or the rumored track listing is?
So, all right. So you've got right now, if you haven't seen it already, and Kit and our other friends have shared it, they want us to post the possible set. I can do that. Give me 1 minute. Let me copy and paste this, but it's going to be 4 CDs, well, really 3, because the 4th one's going to be this proposed EP. So 3 discs, one of the new remix, and 2 CDs of sessions. And I will.
Well, no, and then you're also getting the mono as well.
Oh, the mono as well. Yeah. Here we go. Of course, the whole thing didn't paste in here because I had too much text. So hold on 1 sec. Hold on. This is 1. Here's part 1. I'll post that. And here's part 2. Yeah, CD4 is going to be the mono transfer of an original tape. And here's the other part. Sorry if it gets all kind of cut up, folks, into other comments, but this is how it copied and pasted. But
and this isn't official, by the way, but right, it's a pretty good chance. This is what.
It's a pretty good chance. Yeah, it's a pretty good chance.
The first thing that jumped out to me when I saw this was on CD2, track 11, "Rain, Take 5, Slowed Down." I am really dying to hear how that would sound.
Really? Yeah. So first CD is the stereo mix by Giles and Sam, right? Okay, so CD sessions 2, you've got a couple, starts off with a couple Tomorrow Never Knows.
Take 1, and then a mono mix remaster. And then 3 and 4 and 5 on this 2 is going to be "Got to Get You Into My Life," first version, take 5, then a second version, then a second version again. And then you've got 6, 7, and 8 are "Love You Too," take 1, an unnumbered rehearsal, and then take 7. 9 is Paperback Writer, takes 1 and 2 combined. You've probably heard that before because a lot of this stuff has been bootlegged. A lot of it's been.
Well, we want to get to that too because we talked about there not really being a lot of these special takes or whatever outtakes because there's not a lot of bootlegs right out there of these sessions.
No,
right. Just because there's not a lot doesn't necessarily mean there's nothing in the vaults that they could give us.
Right. Exactly.
Right. You never know.
Right. You never know. Absolutely.
Tomorrow never knows.
I don't see any demo on here. There's one take of "For No One" on here. Take 10, a backing track. So that's a shame. I would have loved to have heard some other versions of "For No One" working in progress. But it's probably
Good Day Sunshine. Is there anything?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But then 11, 12, 13. No, you got 10, 11, 12, and 13 are all related to Yellow Submarine.
No. I'm on take. You got to go back to CD1 still, bud.
Oh, okay.
I left off at Paperback Writer takes 1 and 2, which was
2.
track
Okay.
9.
All right. So 10 and 11 then are Rain. You got Take 5, and then Take 5, like you said, the Slowdown. 12 is Dr. Robert, Take 7. And then 13 and 14, you've got Enya Burke and Sing. The first one is first version, Take 2. And then you got Enya Burke and Sing, first version, Take 2, The Giggling, which wasn't that on the anthology? Too?
Yeah.
Right.
And I hate the giggling. I know everybody loves it, but I hate
You don't like it, Joe?
No, but I'll take it along if they have another one with it.
Right.
If they have for another version too.
So into CD2, you've got Enya Burke and Sing, second version, Take 5. Take 11 of Taxman, and then you've got a 4 in a row for I'm Only Sleeping. A rehearsal fragment, Take 2, Take 5, and then a mono mix of I'm Only Sleeping for the next 4 on CD3.
That's interesting. Yeah. Then you got 7 and 8 is Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby for track 7 is Speech before Take 2, meaning there's probably going to be some dialogue beforehand. And then you got Take 2. Then you got track 9 is for No One.
The backing track,
the backing track. Then you got you got 4 Yellow Submarines. 10, 11,
whoopee.
12, 13.
Hey, let it go. Look, I love it.
But
probably one of those are going to be one of those with that spoken intro, what you've heard.
Right.
Yeah. One of those will have that spoken intro
yeah.
with the foot stomping. You'll hear that.
Yeah.
And then 14 is nice. Another George one of my favorite on the album. I Want to Tell You is Speech and Take 4, which bonus question for all you Beatle people out there. What was the working title of I Want to Tell You without Googling it? We're looking in Mark Lewison's recording sessions for 100 points. Put it in the comments if you know. I always thought they should have went with that title anyway. It just sounds cooler if they get it in here. And then you wrap up with Here, There, and Everywhere, Take 6, and then you close with 2 versions of She Said, John's demo, which has been bootlegged a lot, and Take 1, which wraps up CD3.
Okay. Music Sound Gear says Granny Smith.
Granny Smith is indeed correct.
Are you? But you like that title better, Granny Smith?
I do.
Oh. He says, "I want to tell you" over and over again.
CD4.
Actually, that's wrong. It's not. It's Laxton's Superb. That's wrong. Granny Smith is not correct.
Oh.
It's Laxton's Superb.
That's better.
Check out. It's Laxton's Superb. Check out Lewison recording sessions for that.
Okay.
It is in there.
Okay, I believe you. CD4 is the mono transfer of the original tape. And then the CD5 is the bonus EP where you've got the stereo and mono versions of Paperback Writer and Rain. So there you go. That's the rumored track listing as of right now. So for me, it sounds great. I mean, two CDs of.
So what, are there any songs not represented? Good Day Sunshine's not represented, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's another version of that unavailable here.
No, there's no sessions take of Good Day Sunshine on here.
And another thing too is usually I thought that on past box sets they went in order as well with the track list, the original track listing. So whereas on the second, as soon as you got the bonus disc, it would start with Taxman. You know what I mean, and then go in order of the track listing.
No, they're doing production order, right?
They're probably going in order of
production. Yeah.
Oh, because the sessions opened up with Tomorrow Never Knows. That was the first song they tackled for this album when it was known as Mark 1.
If my memory serves right, didn't they do on the Abbey Road extras? I Want You, She's So Heavy was first.
Yeah.
I think that was the first track.
Yeah, so they're opening up the bonus sessions with Take 1 of Tomorrow Never Knows, which makes sense because it's such a song so integral to what the album is. You know, as the closer. You know,
interesting.
Okay. Very, very. So no video content with this. It's just all audio. So.
And I'm not sure of this, but I think I'm right. When we get to Rubber Soul, I think Run For Your Life was the first track they worked on. I could be wrong. So I don't know if people are gonna be thrilled with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're lucky to, I don't know if this is still available or not, but I mean, if you get
One
this,
plus. Yeah, you
yeah,
got yeah.
you really don't need you don't need a version of Paperback Writer or Rain on the box set. You really
One
don't.
plus covers all the. I mean,
Yeah.
the cleaned up video is fantastic on the one.
Although
Plus.
sometimes it's nice to have it all together
Well,
and
sure.
where it belongs, kind of thing. But
Yes.
you know what I mean. Well,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
just all where
You
it
see
fits.
that posting that Matthew Street did with the rejected album cover, and then he was hoping maybe that'll get included as a possible photograph in the book.
Mm.
Maybe it's a really cool photo. If that would have been obviously they didn't go with the Klaus Vorman drawing, but check out Matthew Street's channel. He posted a really cool rejected possible album cover, and he was hoping, oh, maybe they'll include this in the book as
It should be in the book, absolutely. I mean, they put all of those the shots in for Sergeant Pepper in the book, right? The Sergeant
Mhm.
Pepper book. They put all the different shots in for Abbey Road. So yeah, why wouldn't it be in there?
Yeah, I mean, one would think, one would think, but I remember just really being as a younger fan, looking at studying this album artwork and not really knowing all the Beatles at the time. By really just they're telling you who the lead singer is. Lead singer, Paul McCartney. Lead singer, John Lennon. You didn't know these songs. You were like, oh, how does this "End Your Birkin Sing" go? Oh, it's John Lennon. Like you take it for granted now because you're such a we're such Beatle people. But when you're younger, you're like,
Yeah,
that's pretty helpful.
you'd be surprised how many people. I know my girlfriend in the beginning. They say they can't tell some of them apart, like
Right.
John and George, especially. My girlfriend and other people have said that as well. They can't tell them apart sometimes, which to me is bizarre. But I'm so
Bizarre.
used to them.
Well,
I
I
know
don't
them.
think they. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Joe.
I know them so. I know them so well now.
Right.
Thank you, Mazzy. The alternate Klaus cover will probably be included. He included a litho in his last art book. Awesome.
Okay. Very
So,
cool. I mean, that was the last time they did something like that on the back of an album. I mean, they didn't do anything like that for Sergeant Pepper, where they show who was the lead vocalist. On each album afterwards.
no. So they kind of get you in that 1966 mood. You should all highly recommend. You should all pick up this book by Steve Turner, Beatles '66, and get yourself ready for Revolver and dive into the whole year that was '66 in terms of touring and their whole lives. I mean, it's nice when you start getting just individual years on the Beatles, and here's just one book on 1966, which I bought a couple of years ago. Steve Turner also wrote the complete Beatles song. So if anybody has read this book, check it out. But I'm going to dive back into it to get ready.
Excellent. It'd been funny. That would have been great if that's what Lewison ended up doing, is just go year by year.
I wanted to ask him, like, what year are you up to? I just didn't want to do it.
The year you want to.
I had so many chances to, too. At breakfast, I could have been like,
yeah.
By the way, like, are you up to like 66 or 67 yet? But I didn't have any nerve.
It's funny because whenever I see him around, whether it's at a fest or whether I see him doing other projects, I say, "What are you doing here? Get behind that laptop or wherever he's working." Kidding around.
I have too much respect for the man. I just I wanted to. Everybody at the place wants to ask that question, but it's not going to.
No, right.
And I've said, in my opinion, I really think at this point, if he can do it, you're coming up to the 60th anniversary of the big 1964 Beatles in America thing. That's a perfect time to unleash the book if he can do it by then. I don't know at this point.
2024?
2024, yeah.
Mark's actually going up until about 75, Astroger. It's from what I've interviews and things that I've read. He's going up till whenever the contract expires is what he's going up to.
That's why I don't think there's no way this is going to be a 3-volume series like he originally talked about. There's no way. I love James' comment here. Yellow Submarine belongs on Revolver. The album wouldn't be the same without it. It's like Venus and Mars without Magneto and Titanium Man. Kid O'Toole's favorite track from that album.
But
thank you.
I just don't get generally so much disdain these days. I'm not talking to you, Andy. In general, I'm not saying disdain either. That's a strong word. But for Yellow Submarine, among some fans, I get it. It's the childish track. I just don't get it. I guess I grew up loving it, as a Beatles song, so I don't
Yeah, that when Tom, whenever we play our game, play it or skip it. That's a skip it
Right.
track.
No skip Beatle tracks. No.
We gotta skip a couple.
Hey.
I like this one, and as
Okay.
somebody who just binge watched Lord of the Rings, I like this one. I think Mark Lewison will have his book out before George R. R. Martin has his last books out on Game of Thrones. I think he will, because I do.
All right, fair enough.
I hope so. Anyway,
let's talk about songs here on Revolver. For a few. Taxman. How do we feel about that? As we know, George, started coming into his own. And shame on Paul for in that meeting in September of '69 saying that he didn't think George wrote any good songs
until last year.
Until
he literally said no, any.
Yeah.
Yes.
Said, I just thought his songs weren't up to snuff until the songs he did for Abbey Road. So
he said what you said in front of him.
Yeah,
in front of him.
Right in front of him.
Yeah, I've never heard that clip. But
go take a look at the Anthony Fawcett book, One Day at a Time. Most of the tape.
I have the book. I must have read it when I was like 15 then. Because I have it.
Anthony Fawcett, he had access to that tape because he was John's personal assistant. Go into the book.
I read that.
Yeah, go back into One Day at a Time because he transcribed most of that tape because he had access to it.
Yeah. Now I never heard it, but now that I have that book, that's one of the first books I ever got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essential. Eleanor Rigby.
Tony wants to know if we think that if Paul's songs are his best on any of the Beatles albums.
That's not a fair question.
I mean, I think that the songs on Revolver are among his very best of his whole career.
They're among his best. Are they his overall best?
Oh,
no.
Hard to say.
But they're up there.
Yeah, but Taxman though, I love Taxman. It's a great opening. I'm glad George gets to open the album. I love Paul plays lead on it. Sounds great. I tend to like Paul as a lead guitarist maybe a little better than George.
Wise decision to scrap that Anybody Got a Bit of Money stuff that was on the outtake on the anthology.
Oh yeah.
A little too long. I mean,
that was wise. That was wise to 86 that.
I agree.
Right. I think so. I mean, listen.
Anybody got a bit of money? What do they say? Anybody got a bit of money?
Anybody got a bit of money?
Anybody got a bit of money?
Yeah, no.
It's like no.
That was good. And of course, in the 90s, as you guys covered on Talk More Talk, he changed the lyrics of it.
Right.
And he did it live in Japan.
Hey, Mitch Axelrod's here. Hello, Mitch.
Hey,
hello, Mitch.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, Henry asked this question before, but I think we missed it. What do you guys think is the better song? Tomorrow Never Knows or Strawberry Fields Forever? Because they're both regarded as the two best.
Oh man,
that's tough.
I gotta go with Strawberry Fields. I gotta go with Strawberry Fields. I mean, I gotta go with Strawberry Fields. But of course, I love Tomorrow Never Knows.
Yeah, tough question.
I think I could go that way. I think I can go that way too.
Strawberry Fields, gotta be. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really work, but the rhythm of it was
sometimes it can be what you're used to as well. But in this case, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think it would apply. Maybe it just stinks. In this case.
But I'm somewhere along the line they said, okay, Taxman's a really good opener. Open up the album with it. So John and Paul, maybe they didn't think as much of him as a songwriter, but they said, well, it's good enough to open the album.
You can't argue. Yeah, I mean, that's what they liked opening their albums with, a bit of energy, and that screams energy.
Hot boiler, as George Martin used to call it.
Hot boiler, right? And going to Eleanor Rigby, and then just wow. I mean, you got this string quartet that just slaps you in the face with Paul's opening all the lonely people.
Sounds like 100 Pauls singing, right?
Yeah, it sounds like 100 Pauls.
Beautiful. Well, I told this story on the other show, but I'll tell it again because it's great. I think when I was a kid, I remember I hadn't yet gotten to Revolver, so I wound up buying a 45 of Yellow Submarine, and it was on the orange and red Target label in the U.S. Anyway, the B-side, Eleanor Rigby, blew me away, and I was just a kid. It was so intense and emotional and a little depressing and sad, and it was so powerful that I really loved it. These days, we can oftentimes get very OD'd on a song. We've heard it so much. I don't feel it as acutely as I did then, but boy, on the first listen, it's one of the greatest things Paul's ever done. What can I say? Oh, and I still think, does anybody in the world, if you listen, you don't even have to listen that close. I know it's lonely people, but why is the V sound in there? Lovely. I hear the V in there every time I listen to it. When I was a kid, I thought it was all the lovely people when I was a kid, and I still hear V, v,
Probably
v
just
in
his
there.
accent, like the
know?
whole "fuck you" story.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, before we go on to continue the tracks, hey, listen, I know that The Art of Dying and Isn't It a Pity date to this era, but I don't think there's versions that were recorded because somebody said, "Oh, how come there is no, version of Isn't It a Pity?"
Right.
I don't think the Beatles recorded Isn't It a Pity. I know that The Art of Dying was written around this time, but I don't think they made an attempt at recording Isn't It a Pity in '66. It was written probably in '66, maybe,
Right.
but The Art of Dying I know was, but it wouldn't matter. Imagine reading versions of that. So George really coming into his own around '66 as a songwriter.
Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah, I mean, he could have just did a home demo of it, and he probably just didn't bring it to the studio. It probably just wasn't confident enough in it.
I mean, as it was, he got three songs on the three original songs on the album anyway, which was his first. It's probably the most. It probably holds its status because it's the most evenly distributed Beatles album as it could be. There's enough John, there's enough Paul, and you got three really good George songs, and then your Ringo cookie on there for your Ringo.
Well, plus maybe the George camp, didn't want it on there. I mean, maybe they've got plans, for it or something. If they have anything that he may have laid down in '66 for that song. Matter of fact, this is more of the scraping of the barrel here for the Beatles and George. Maybe they're going to do something with it. I don't know if it exists. I mean, if he just wrote it, and not do any demos, so then there wouldn't be anything there.
23 and writing about The Art of Dying. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it.
Right.
But next track, I'm Only Sleeping, right?
Yeah, I'm Only Sleeping. This is a great one. I mean, I enjoy this. This is, a great lazy, sleeping in track. I mean, who doesn't like, being lazy every once in a while, right? And just, staying in bed as long as you can.
Well, at this point in his life, John definitely enjoyed sleeping.
Yeah, and I try to do that less and less. I like to get up and at 'em and get around now and make use of the day. It's never been one of my favorite songs by John, even though I do like the fact that it's psychedelic sounding and trippy and weird.
Yeah, the sound. Yeah, the sound effects of it and the production of it is enjoyable. But as a song, it's okay. But all the backwards guitar stuff on it is really cool.
Yeah,
I like how he did. Oh, go ahead.
Well, all right. Well, Mitch, I just want to say, Mitch said something about. I don't know if you saw it. I don't want to run things, but he said, "See my comment above about the album opening track." I think he was talking about.
Okay. I had to go back and miss it. I think Mitch said. I think it's interesting that this.
We had talked about that.
We mentioned this. We mentioned this at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that and the difference between that and the I saw her standing there account.
And I had never noticed until Tom brought it up. Even that, I didn't think, hey, they both did that. I saw her standing there and this.
I actually never thought of that. I mean,
never thought of it.
1, 2, 3, 4, but you just did totally two different contexts.
And I like how he uses lazy and crazy in the song, just like, and then he revisited that for the watching the wheels.
People always say I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're crazy.
You're crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's John at this point was starting to really, he was beginning in that kind of checkout mode. He was really kind of
possibly, but living.
I do like the line about running everywhere at such a speed until they find there's no need.
No need.
Yeah. I mean, Revolver comes out in August of '66, right? So, they're in the middle of the whirlwind. I think the last U.S. tour had already happened, or it was going to happen because they ended up doing, obviously the last show at Candlestick Park on the 29th.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the world going by my window. I just, I love, he's a great writer, great songwriter.
Love you, Joe. Sorry, Joe. Did you? I think you did Fab Gab for this. I trying to remember who you had as the guest on this. I don't know if it was it me.
I did it twice. First, I have two versions of it up now. One of them is Ethan Alexanian. You mean as the guest that was on, and also after that I did Sam St. John.
Oh, okay.
We did it twice.
You did do it twice. I remember I watched one of them, but
You want to see if Mitch wants to join us?
Sure.
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 Mitch,
Nice.
you want to come on up, Mitch, and Andy can drop a link to you.
Yeah,
Come on, Mitch. Put your shirt on.
Put your shirt on.
Music Sound Gear said, am I the only one who doesn't care for Giles Martin remixes? To me, it's changing what the Beatles recorded. Well, you've always got the originals to go by. If you don't like it, you've got the original. I'm sure you've got the original albums. I don't think it's going to change the legacy. I mean, to me, I'm going to listen to the Giles Martin remix of Pepper before I listen to the original one, though, because I thought that was tremendous. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Giles' work as a whole. I've always said I like some of the things he's done a lot, and some of them I didn't like what he did. I go for me, it's song to song, really. I think
on a basis of is it good or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't mean an insult or anything. I mean, you know, the stuff that I like, and some of them I didn't.
Sometimes it's, you can't, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, it's like I said with Abbey Road and Let It Be. I mean, if I was to put out my original, 87 CD, it still sounds okay. Now, obviously it's a little brighter and better, but those were flawlessly produced records. How much better could they have made them?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mitch can't join us. No problem, Mitch. But he agreed about Pepper. Abbey Road really didn't remix. Revolver screams for one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's excellent.
I hope Eleanor Rigby is going to sound as good as it did on the 1999 Yellow Submarine.
Oh man, that was incredible. That was like doors opening, right, Joe? When you heard it.
Yeah, I loved it because I always hated that little Eleanor Rigby goes over to the side thing that they used to have before that was fixed on the 1999, if I recall. I like it better there.
That 99 Yellow Submarine remix was the first time where I'm like, wow, they could actually do some really good stuff with Beatle remixes if they really. But we had to wait, a lot more years before they actually went back into doing that.
And that's going back 20 something years.
99, yeah. So, but that was like hearing like It's All Too Much and Nowhere Man and hearing and Hey Bulldog and remember the rumor at the time, Joe? I don't know. I'm telling you, remember this? There was going to be a new Beatles song coming out, and then it only ended up being the yellow. It only ended up being the video for Hey Bulldog. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I don't remember. But boy, when I saw it, I think I saw it on Barbara Walters or something the first time show. All I know is it was so great to see that. I always wondered what song they were singing during the Lady Madonna original. They used that footage of Hey Bulldog in Lady Madonna video.
Right. Well, we're gonna get a new Beatles track, and somebody kind of spoke too soon and ended up having to walk it back. Somebody inside Apple too. Actually, I remember who it was. It was Jeff Baker, Paul's former publicist.
Publicist. Yeah.
Do you remember this, Tom?
Vaguely.
He caught a lot of crap about it too because he had to walk back. It was this whole big thing. New Beatles track. This is after 3 Years of Bird and Real Love too. So you're like, what? But yeah, Love You Too. First track, first Indian hint on Revolver.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I just love the up-tempo-ness of it. I love that it's 10 times better than what the work on Norwegian Wood. I mean, I like Norwegian Wood. I just sometimes feel like the sitar is kind of a little out of place on that one. I'm glad that he continued that, because I love You Too. I just think it rocks.
Well, I can't agree. I can't agree with you with the sitar on Norwegian Wood, but that's all right. I just love the way how intense it is on Love You Too. And I find myself saying, I don't know what the hell the line means, but a lot of times, we always think time goes too fast. So many times I'll say, if I'm just frustrated, I'll look at somebody and I'll just say, I said, each day just goes so fast. I turn around, it's past. You don't get time to hang a sign on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means, but I like it.
But it's good. Yeah, it's probably one of the best, better George's Indian songs. I think I like it the best out of even Within You Without You. I think it's the best one.
That's an interesting question. It's hard. Those three, I don't know which one I like.
Between Inner Light and Within You Without You.
Inner Light would probably be my least favorite of the three. And yeah, I think just because of the up-tempo-ness of Love You Too.
I think Love You Too might be my favorite of those.
Gotta be.
Because of the tempo.
Yeah.
Right.
And one
I
thing
do love the lyrics on Within You Without You. I love the lyrics on that one, but sometimes I feel it drags.
it does
You know,
drag, but it's very, very prophetic. At the time, when you've seen beyond yourself, you may find
right.
peace of mind. Those lyrics are pretty cool, but you're right, it does drag a little bit. And throwing that instrumental version without the lyrics on Anthology 2, that was a waste. That was like getting that was like a filler. We're gonna get 5 minutes without anything different on here, but
I fear there's going to be some of that on here. Kind of thing.
well,
Like I'm not a big fan of that. Like I know a lot of people like it. Let's have the instrumental track. Let's
like
just
strings
have
only, strings only.
It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm a big fan on let's do another vocal take. Take one, take two,
Yes.
take three. That's what I like, and you're not going to get a lot of that. I don't think on this one. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe not. I think there's going to be strings only. I think maybe Eleanor Rigby, which is a repeat on Anthology 2. Again, a little bit of filler, but I've always loved Love You Too. Curiously enough, too, like on this one, and the Beatles didn't do this a whole lot on their records. You look at this now; they gave credit to the tabla player on this track, and they didn't really do that on a lot of their records. For all the guest musicians they had come in, like the cellist on "She's Leaving Home," she was only credited later on. But on this one, on Revolver, they credit the Anhil Bagwat. I mean, they actually went out of their way to credit the tabla player on "Love You Too." So it's interesting to see why they decided to credit some people and not others.
Not others. You got to highlight Mitch's comment here.
Yeah.
I was told today that we can only put on the box what we have. Well, that
There
would
you go.
that would kind of lend itself to what we kind of always thought, that the well is kind of pretty well dry with Revolver material, and there's not a whole lot out there. There's not a lot out there. So,
but what we have, I mean, the Beatles aren't going to go and record anything new for the. But what we have means available on the outside, or on the inside vaults. What does that mean?
Well, listen, all you have to do is go look at Lewison, okay, and look. If the Beatles did 60 takes of For No One, okay, and some of them were breakdowns and stoppages. Find the best ones that were alternates and throw them on. I think that's kind of what we as the diehards want to see. If you go read your Lewison book, and on whatever July 5th they did a 30 takes of I Want to Tell You. Well, what did take 27 sound a lot different than take 26? That's the stuff we want to hear.
Right.
So that those tapes exist because Lewison listened to them all. So I don't know how true that we can only put up what we have. You have plenty. You just, do you think it's worthy of a release is the question.
Yeah. Here, There, and Everywhere. Another, Paul ballad.
Classic.
Classic. I think he said that this was his favorite song.
I've heard him say that.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna do a hot take for you guys. And I'm going to say that his girlfriend at the time, was a better muse than Linda. Jane Asher.
We've talked about this. Yeah.
You mean for song subjects?
For songwriting.
That's interesting. That's a good point. And it had Paul write some what's the word? More like thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah,
more like he's not sure of things, and it's not always love all the time.
Exactly. I wouldn't mind if I knew what I was missing. Right. In her eyes, you see nothing. Love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight.
That kind of thing.
I don't know though, Tom. We're putting these up against the mighty. Maybe I'm Amazed in My Love. Come on now, Calico Skies.
But they're not. I mean, lyrically, they're not as powerful or as thought provoking as these songs that he written with Jane Asher in mind.
Yeah. See, even for those two songs, I love them both. I love My Love, and I love Maybe I'm Amazed. But Maybe I'm Amazed, to me, I've often said, I think that might be the best song Paul ever wrote, in my opinion. Let It Be, to me, we're not going there, but to me, Let It Be, and Maybe I'm Amazed, if I had to pick two, might be I think the best songs he ever wrote. Yeah. But Maybe I'm Amazed, what I like about it is, I've said many times, he's got problems. He's got doubts. He's
Right.
trying to get it together. Linda's helping him. I like that kind of turmoil from Paul for a change.
Right.
And as much as I love my love, it's pretty much all la-di-da,
Oh
la-di-da.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm in love, but
Fair.
nothing wrong with that, and I love it.
Very fair. I love this comment here from James. His parents had dinner with Alan Civil, who was played French horn on For No One. He was a little miffed for being known for the Beatles connection. Well, how else is he going to be known if we don't? Come on, man. Why would he be miffed? I
Right.
see the classical musicians though. They probably gotta, their nose at a joint because they're,
Right.
they're classical musicians.
Oh, yeah.
So I
I
can't
like
be bothered. I can't be bothered with that poppy Beatles crap.
right. I like
Probably what they take. What's the
Mark's
com-
comment here. If Jane was a better muse than Linda, it's because his relationship with Jane was rockier than his with well, and yeah, I mean,
Fair.
exactly. I mean, that's very fair and it's
Look,
a very
yeah.
true comment. But that's
Yeah.
what made for better songs.
And you're
Or
right, Tom.
lyrics.
You're right. I got to agree with you on that one. I think that kind of that yin and yang that is why that the better songs were there. Fair enough. Let's see. Has McCartney
Mitch.
put on the three
Okay.
better songs than Eleanor Rigby?
Uh,
Hard to top it.
on a Beatle album or an album in general, because I think on Flaming Pie he's got a lot of good.
Yeah, I think on a
Right.
Beatle album. Oh God, let's see what I'm saying. It's hard. It's hard on a Beatle album. I don't know. Golden Slumbers, Maxwell Silverhammer.
Yeah, that gets me thinking now. Well,
That's debatable, my bud.
I mean, you've got Blackbird, you got I Will. I'm trying to think. Well, the White Album is a double record,
Right.
so that's not really fair.
Hard to tell.
Rubber Soul.
Well, I mean, You Never Give Me Your Money, The End, Golden Slumbers.
Golden Slumbers.
you
How
know,
about let's just call it what
Oh,
it is.
Darling.
All of side 2, the Paul side and the John side. Just give Paul credit for side 2. But John called it. That's what John called it. I don't know, brother. That might be, 3 of his best songs on one album. Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
I hate that he changed the lyrics. That
what?
opening line in Broad Street. I love. I need love. I love. What was it?
I need my love.
I need a love of my own.
I need a love of my own.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with that. He
Well,
changes a few things sometimes, but I think maybe he does.
Right.
Not that one, but some of them he does. I can't think what it is, and it's another popular song he does that always drives me nuts when he does it live, and I can't think what it is, to tell you the truth.
Well, while you think about that, Ringo clearly wasn't going to have any part of that because he said, "I'm not playing drums on any of these Beatles songs, Pauls, in your movie. So just sit there and you can do them. And then when you get to Wanderlust, I'll come in and play drums."
What's the song? What's the song?
Think about the song, Joe.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Tony, so the word he took the words from the tune is Paul's. The poem he took, it's an old poem.
Oh, I've just seen a face.
Kind of
what
like
is-
what George did with the Inner Light as well. I think George took a lot of the words from the Inner Light from
a
from
poem.
some Indian text.
You
as well.
you got the song you were thinking of, Joe?
Is that what I'm thinking of? I'm just seeing the likes of this is it's a small thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the like of this. No,
Yes,
maybe that's not
Susan-
the one I'm thinking.
Susan, we mentioned this a few minutes ago. Inside Pop, the rock revolution, which is
Right.
one of the best documentaries from the '60s on where pop music was at the time, really for '67. And for those you Beach Boys fans out there, you can see Brian Wilson singing the as yet to be released "Surfs Up," which is why
I like Rory's question after that. When you finish.
Rory.
Yeah.
Let's go to Rory. Do you think "Yellow Submarine" is the song Ringo's most famous for? Yes.
If it wasn't for the movie, it would have been. I feel it would have been with a little help from my friends. But because
fair.
there's the movie, then I think that's
The movie
absolute.
makes it grow. Yeah.
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 So no movie with
No
a little help
movie,
from my friends.
I think exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And what else? I mean, what else could there? I mean, what else would there really? Octopus's Garden.
Yeah, Octopus's Garden. I think people think of these days. That's getting a lot of more attention lately.
You turn on Sirius XM every other day, and Octopus's Garden is on.
Octopus's Garden, and we're talking Beatles, really, right? Not solo or
No, the
anything.
Beatles. I mean, what else? Don't Pass Me By.
No.
Well, Good Night. Well, he didn't write that. That's a John song, Henry.
Well, you didn't
well,
write
yeah. They say he didn't write Yellow Submarine either.
Yeah,
So-
or with a little help from my friends.
right.
No. Yeah, it's got to be the one he's best known for.
Yeah. And that's fine. I don't think I would like it as much. Well, it's hard to tell because we only know it as a Ringo vocal, Yellow Submarine.
Imagine if there was a version of Paul singing it.
I don't know. I mean, Ringo is so, he's got that schmaltzy, charming, everybody loves Ringo, kind of, court jester Ringo, that, child friendly Ringo kind of thing.
Right.
It fits, it really fits it to me.
It does. I can't really think. I mean, listen, Boys on the first album, I Want to Be. It's got to be the song. It's hands down the one he's going to be known for. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Well,
with,
I mean,
with a little help from my friends is pretty big though too.
Yeah.
Even because it's also the idea. It's so appropriate for Ringo. He has always relied on his friends.
Yeah.
very
I'm
true.
working on it, James. I'm working on it.
You're writing the screenplay for that right now, right?
I'm working on it. Yeah, good points. Moving
Oh,
on.
Dean right there says Paul changes "Let It Be" lyrics from "Hour of Darkness" to "Darkest Hour."
Yes. Darkest
He
Hour.
does that. That's not the one I was thinking, but he does do that. Yeah.
He does that. I know on
My
Tripping the Live.
Darkest Hour.
Fantastic. He does. He says Darkest Hour, and I'm sure there's been other live.
Is it Long and Winding Road? Maybe is that the one I'm thinking of? You'll never know what you've always known.
Well, that's
Did he do that live? I can't remember now. He didn't do it live this last trip. I don't
no,
think.
no.
Long and Winding Road.
Mitch says there's a version hung by the Honey Don't sung by John that Ringo does it better.
Yeah,
Is that-
I agree. I prefer Ringo's version.
Mitch, is that a Hamburg recording?
The BBC.
Oh, BBC. Okay. Right. Oh, is that the second volume of is that the BBC stuff, or is it?
I don't
is it
know
a
which
bootleg?
one it's on.
Not
I know them as the bootlegs more.
Right.
I don't really know the regular ones.
There's another direction that the Apple camp can go. I mean, just kind of getting diverting a little bit here. Imagine if they actually ever released all the BBC recordings from all the shows of everything.
Yeah, I think people would get bored hearing 10 versions of "Love Me Do" or whatever, but diehards wouldn't mind, I guess, having everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. No, I don't think we would. So we talked a little Yellow Submarine.
She
going
Said,
to
She
She
Said.
Said, which closes the first side A. I think this is an incredible song. Again, incredible track from John. I love the I love that opening guitar riff.
Yeah.
You get some of that backwards guitar riff in there as well. I love the lyrics on this one. Again, is incredible. This is definitely the LSD influence. The conversation with the Peter Fonda.
Peter
I know what it's like
Fonda.
to be dead.
Yep.
In there. So this is a great track right here.
Yeah. I love it. I love everything about it, and it's great as a side ender.
Great side closer.
And side closer, and Paul's not on the track either. I don't believe.
Well,
Mitch is saying he's on bass.
This is a huge controversy. In
He says
camp.
Paul is on bass.
Who played bass on She Said, She Said?
Because Paul did walk out on this sessions for the song. I believe.
Yes.
And what was the reason?
Probably because he wouldn't, John and George wouldn't take his suggestion. Say, look, lads. I'm saying, look, lads. If we do it this way.
See, it was starting already. So all right. So everybody here is saying Paul on bass. I mean,
You see, Tony says, she said makes no sense unless you know the Peter Fonda story. Sure, but it doesn't have to make sense. I mean, geez, that makes it more trippy,
Right.
Lewison did confirm it. Okay, thank you, Mitch.
Okay, cool.
And it was actually known as He Said first. If you listen to
Right?
it's He Said, and
It's funny, how John does that, right? It changes it to she said. Then you had Sexy Sadie was supposed to be Maharishi.
Yep.
You change it into something else.
Changes it. Yeah. She Said's always been one of my favorite Lennon tracks during the Beatles' time. It's easily. I probably like it better than anything on Revolver or. It's right. It's up there. I mean, it's quick, it's short, and it's one of the ones that Bernstein talks about in the documentary, which is really interesting. Side 2, and apparently there's only 3. Somebody, I think Mitch said earlier, a couple of comments ago, "Good Day Sunshine." They got it in 3 takes, so there's there's nothing really else to really get. for Good
I
Day
got it.
Sunshine.
Good, Andy. I don't know. I forget if you love the song or not. I'm thinking you might, but I
Yes.
mean, it is. I think that's what I'm back of my head. I mean, the song is what it's supposed to be. It makes you feel good. It's a sunny morning. That's
Yep.
how I felt this morning. I felt like that this morning. Oh, it's a sunny day, la di da. It felt great. But as much as I love it, and Paul does these kind of things so perfectly. It's so brilliant. It's so Paul. I'm like, "Ugh," I mean, it's like Paul, so silly old Paul kind of thing. But I don't dislike the song though. Isn't that funny? I just think, oh, Paul.
Paul, it's perfect. I mean, it's perfect. Paul, it's Paul must have been really channeling in a Revolver mode when he was doing Broad Street because he included For No One, Good Day Sunshine, and Here, There, and Everywhere. Like he must have been
Eleanor
channeling,
Rigby.
and Eleanor. He must have been channeling his Revolver period, thinking, I
Yeah.
wrote some really good stuff. Then I'm going to recover it now.
Who did the piano solo? And was it George Martin?
George.
That did the piano solo. He did do this. Okay.
George Martin, yeah.
The fifth Beatle.
The fifth Beatle.
Now listen, it's not nearly as good. Good Day Sunshine and Broad Street's not nearly as good as Revolver. I think we can all admit that.
Yeah.
The big old power pop song on the record. I mean, I think "And Your Burke and Sing" might have been like the last remembrance of what Beatlemania was, maybe. It might have been the end of that whole period of that, high energy, high, pop.
Twangy guitars.
Twangy guitars. I love "And Your Burke and Sing." Again, this is one that I always gravitated towards. Always a song that I was always look forward to hearing when I played Revolver. This is a must listen. If you a great deep cut, if you want to call it a deep cut, although I don't think and there are no deep cuts.
There are no deep cuts.
I know what he means though. Yeah, there's no Beatle deep cuts, but yeah.
Right.
It's not like Yesterday or Let It Be, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I will say that I love "And Your Bird Can Sing." Absolutely love it. I fell in love with it. I'm glad Mitch is here. I hope he's still here. The first time as a kid I ever heard it was, I always, still to this day, I think of the opening of the Beatles cartoon show. They used "And Your Bird Can Sing," and that's when I became a fan of the Beatles, watching the Beatles cartoons. And I like another plug for the U.S. albums. I love how it opens up. Side two. I love it as a side opener.
Great side opener. That would have been a great album opener.
Well, I was just gonna say that. See, if you place Taxman with any other song on this album, it's
that one. It's that one for sure.
Absolutely.
Great ending too with a little bass. Bass kind of trails out.
Yeah.
Love that.
Track 10. Go ahead.
I wish there was Kit. Yeah, I wish there was some outtakes for that. But again, they got it right in a couple takes. All right, next For No One.
For No One. This is a
beautiful
song, but so sad, but beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's beautiful. It's really emotional. Great. It's a masterpiece from Paul.
It is. I go back and forth between this and Tomorrow Never Knows as my. When I think back to, like a Fab Gab where you rank them, all the tracks. This is one. Tomorrow could be tomorrow. I always go back and forth. This is by far my favorite song on the record, For No One. Paul. It's Baroque pop at its best.
Yeah.
The descending melody on the piano all the way through it. The sadness. It's all in that track. The descending, all the descending notes on the piano, everything about it.
I love the version he does of it. I forget the name of the special, but you know what I mean. The making of Broad Street, or when they're working on Broad Street, he does that version, and he just says French horn.
Yeah. He just mimes the part.
Yeah, I love that little bit.
Yeah, French horn. Yeah, that's the South Bank documentary on Broad Street from '84.
So many great lines in that song. I mean, no sign of love behind the tears. I mean, it's just so.
That's great writing. See, that's great.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's why. To your earlier point, Tom, about using Jane as an inspiration for this stuff, because really, this was him really kind of just like having at odds with her.
And that's when Paul's got some great lyrics there. And the old cliche. Oh, John write the good lyrics, Paul couldn't, and Paul could do the melody or the soft ballads, John couldn't. Well, of course, we know that's not true. Both men did each, but I mean, this is an example to me of Paul's great lyrics.
Yeah. Yes, Gene, he has. He played For No One on the US tour in 2005. He did play For No One live on that tour. and I don't think he's played anywhere else since then as well. But yeah, one of the best. Dr. Robert next.
Dr. Robert, again, inspired by
Drugs.
by true events, though. I love when they put a little bit of actual, a bit of their life into the songs. I mean, obviously we know that this is a story with John and George and their wives, having dinner or whatever with their dentist, and he slips some LSD. And I just love the story he tells, right, with George in the anthology when he gets in their little
and
mini or whatever, and then he's like
driving.
driving 2 miles, and he says it seems like we're driving so fast, but it was really only like 2
They were
miles.
going, yeah.
Right.
It's like that scene in that movie. I forget
Right.
where they're just not
Yeah.
going that fast. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be the special cup that they're talking.
Right.
The whole well, you're feeling fine.
I love that part. It
Yeah.
sounds like it really like, well, kind of like high, or another drug world.
Right.
But the well, you're feeling fine. Then goes right back into it with the guitars.
And I like Paul's part in there too. He's a man. I can't say.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
doing?
Yeah,
I love
always doing the high part. Yeah,
Every morning.
and that's a
No
yesterday.
one can succeed like Dr. Robert.
That's a yesterday and today track. And is it better on yesterday and today, or is it better on Revolver? I mean, come on.
Oh, it's better on Revolver, but I mean, it works. You don't need it. You don't need it on the US one after you had it already. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
And then our last George track on the LP, I Want to Tell You.
Yeah, I mean, I like this one. I don't know if I like it as much as Love You Too and
Really?
Taxman. It's still a great track.
Oh man, that jangling piano throughout the whole thing.
Well, I'm not saying I don't like
more
that
of that,
stuff.
baby.
Yeah, but and I like the backing vocals from Paul and John on this one. Helping George out with it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, it's.
I'm notorious for saying it's one of my least favorite. Don't finish drinking first. We'll choke. Swallow, Andy. One of my least favorite Beatles songs, but that doesn't mean. I mean, I would put it like in the bottom 20 or something. It's not one of my favorites. It's probably my least favorite track on the album. I like it a lot more now than I did decades ago. I like it more now than then.
Give you the Beatle kind of skip the song question test. If you were listening to, you wouldn't seek out I Want to Tell You and just play it on its own. But if you were listening to Revolver start to finish, you're not skipping it, right?
I never skip anything on the Beatles. I just don't. I rarely skip tracks.
Good for you, man.
Me.
I do like this middle eight in that track. Sometimes I wish I knew you well and I can speak my mind.
Yeah,
but if I seem to act unkind, that whole bit, and and I love how it just fades in. The song just fades in with the guitar. It's like it's like turning the wait. Is this song?
And the bass when the bass comes up.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. There's things I do like. I do not dislike it.
Really, that's like, isn't it a pity level George for me? I put it up there that high. I absolutely love I Want to Tell You.
Now you got me thinking. Drums are pretty damn good too.
Oh, drums are great.
Yes.
There's that little drum break he goes before George goes back into I Want to Tell You for the second time.
Yeah, and then for me, that song, the piano is always about the piano. I love the piano when I Want to Tell You. I absolutely.
Kind of like the underrated You Like Me Too Much.
Yes.
I like You Like Me Too much.
Absolutely, Joe. Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Now we got the horns, the big horn track. I mean, this is the what do we want to call it? The Chicago track, or the of the album.
Yeah.
Got to Get You Into My Life, which we know isn't necessarily about Jane Asher.
Definitely not.
Or love in general. I gotta say, my story of this thing is that it's twofold. I'll repeat it. I'll probably repeat it again later when I do my show later tonight again. But again, as growing up, I hadn't heard anything past Rubber Soul yet. In 1976, I first heard "Got to Get You Into My Life" when it was reissued,
right?
And it was a hit on the radio, and I thought it was a new Wings song when I was like 14. I didn't realize it was a Beatles song
when they issued it as a single, right?
Yeah, I heard it on the radio all the time, along with "Silly Love Songs" and "Let 'Em In" or whatever. That I thought it was McCartney and Wings. It's got the brass in there. I mean, I don't know. It just sounded like it could have been Wings, I think it's a great. If you take it for how it sounds, it's such a great plea, to being into a girl and wanting to get her into your life. Then you find out that it's an ode to marijuana, and it ruins the song for me these days. It just ruins it for me.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones he's never walked back. That
Right.
this is what the song is about. He told you from the onset, even on the anthology.
When did he own up? I don't remember when he started doing. I never heard it for. It took
seem-
a while for me to learn.
I seem to remember that being in the anthology where he opened up about what it was really about, because he wouldn't have touched it in the 70s or in the 80s.
Well, you got to remember, I was listening 20 years before anthology.
Right.
Right. I just think it's pretty. I think it's pretty cool that Joe thought it was a Paul and solo song, but where he was at was his age. Wings is like the best thing in the world, plug included, and he's thinking it's. But that just goes to show you the staying power of the music.
Right. Paul is a huge fan of two things that I've never really been a big fan of, and that one is reggae, and the other is marijuana. And those two tend to go hand in hand. Reggae and marijuana. But hey, listen, I've done.
Says the owner of the 12 copies of Susie and the Red Stripes.
Right.
I was going to the first that came into my mind. I like some reggae. I like some reggae.
Yeah, it just sounds sameish to me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed. I listen. I listen. It's a Paul McCartney song. It's not on that For No One Here, There, and Everywhere level for me, but it's still fantastic, and with the brass and the playing and everything else on it. And again, like, who's playing brass? Like, who's doing all that? Maybe we'll get all those session players in the box set.
Yeah, but to Kit's great line, there's some great, got to get you in the life is horngasm at its best.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy. And
then you end the track with the great Tomorrow Never Knows, and this is again a great just listening experience. You put those headphones on, and what an experience. Listen any way you listen to it, it's a great experience, but I think when you play the song with headphones on, it just same with like Revolution 9. If you play that song with headphones on, it just completely changes.
Scare the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Wait, Revolution 9 or Tomorrow Never Knows?
No, Revolution 9, especially when you got the baby going, it sounds like a baby going, ha, ha. I'm like, get out of here.
The guy wheezing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Oh, God, that's horrible. Look at
But
Tomorrow Never Knows, what can you say? It's my favorite track on it. And I love it. Paul with his tape loops, give him the credit for that,
All in the key of C. The whole song is in one key throughout the whole thing.
That opening line, turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. I mean, just again, you feel the influence of LSD.
But even the Indian stuff, like of course, George is on it, but even like Paul says on the anthology, all music is in the chord of it's like one chord and very Indian music. So like even though it's John's song, they're clearly influenced by each other a little bit. So even though Tomorrow Never Knows doesn't really go, it's just in C the whole song. The whole thing for 3 minutes and whatever it is. And I know Kid has told me before, that give her like Tomorrow Never Knows for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Let's go. It'll be fun. And we'll see.
Yeah. So some of the sounds are different on the mono version. At least with the US, when I play the US albums from time to time, the mono. I know that's how I play it usually these days.
Mono.
It's a little different. There's different mix, different sounds.
So if you're listening to it, Joe, I mean, if you're listening to Revolver, are you listening to it like on vinyl, mobile phone, like US, UK?
No phone. Well, these days, until I got another car fairly recently, and I didn't have a CD player anymore, I always just took the discs out and played CDs in the car and blasted it. I loved it that way, and that's how I'd play it. If I'm gonna, if I play vinyl, it's funny that these days I don't know why I've gone through a point when I was younger. I really did appreciate the UK as intended, so I did play the only versions, the UK the way the Beatles intended. But these days I'm getting old. I'm finding myself, if I play vinyl, I play the Capitol stuff, the United Artists, Hard Days. I don't know why. Maybe it's a nostalgia thing. But I do like, that's a whole other discussion, but I do like, to me, some of those tracks sound more full or strong and energetic the way they have them on those U.S. albums. So anyway, but yeah, a CD probably first.
CD
Right.
first, right?
You
And
know.
yeah, the UK mono box.
Yeah, I've done that before, but not in a long time. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny because I
I
I did play the mono version here for the first time in probably like 5 years, and I got to tell you, I think I prefer the stereo myself.
really?
Well, that
Yeah,
happens a lot. I mean, it's a whole again another how many Beatle discussions, right? I
right,
mean, I don't care what the Beatles said. Sometimes I like the stereo version.
I
right,
I
agree.
the White Album for me, it's got to be stereo. I
right.
like the stereo White Album. I like the stereo Pepper also. Sorry, Beatles. I like the stereo Pepper better. It's more psychedelic, more trippy. Otherworldly. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. Getting all these experiences.
Not reducing it all just to mono and one
So,
thing. Yeah,
Well,
uh,
no.
you're not getting. I've got blisters on my fingers if you listen to mono. You're only getting that
right,
with
right. Well,
stereo.
that's
Right,
one of the biggest omissions.
right.
You know.
Things like that. But yeah, no, it's we'll see it. It's going to be we don't know when it's going to come out. I mean, we're expecting. I mean that track
Well,
listing that we talked about today, maybe September. So if there's a September official announcement from Apple, we can expect it maybe in late October, early November, probably.
let's
And
bring up real
for
quick the I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, like, obviously formats. We're all thinking about the box, right? But they'll probably just be, they'll probably be the box, of the CDs, and then an LP version of probably 3 or 4 LPs, and then maybe they'll do a 2 CD edition of this, maybe,
Oh,
or
they'll definitely do a 2 CD edition. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's before we head out, let's real quick just talk about the big single from these sessions, that the two songs that weren't on the album, Paperback
oh,
Writer and Rain.
yep,
Again, two great achievements in recording history. I think this is one of their greatest singles of all time. The videos are fun as
yes,
well. But I don't really necessarily care what they did with the Paperback Writer live, but they tried at least.
right after Paul's little accident where he had the tooth
Right.
missing.
Yeah.
If you watch the
Yeah. Right, for the
videos,
video. Right.
in the
Yeah.
video, he was all
Yeah.
cut up there. So
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
you conspiracy theorists out there, have at it.
But Joe, your thoughts on the single?
Well, I remember the first time I heard Paperback Writer, the very first time. Again, I was in a car. It was at nighttime, and my mom was driving, and it came on the radio, and I'd never heard it. And again, I really kind of envy these people, the diehard real first generation fans,
Right.
getting these things brand new. I can't imagine.
Right.
That must have knocked you for a loop. And I'm like, this was just a most fantastic rock thing that I'd heard at my young life. I mean, I don't know how. Again, I was probably at that point. I was probably like about I don't know, 13, 12 or 13, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, these days I'm a little OD'd on that one too. But that's great that the guitar work on it's great. Those harmonies. Ferreira Jacques, aren't they singing that in the
Yep.
background? Yeah. I mean, I love it. And the whole Paperback Writer kind of like echoey thing that they do with the Paperback Writer line.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it's about something different, like something strange, like wanting to be a paperback writer instead of I want to hold your hand, I want to love you or whatever. I'm in love and this kind of thing. I like the whole story thing in that one. Yeah, and Rain, as a youngster, it took me a long time to like Rain.
Really?
Yeah, as a kid, I didn't. I thought it was a mess as a kid. Now, it's brilliant. Now, I absolutely love it. And Ringo's drumming is sensational.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah.
almost always says Rain is his favorite Beatle track because he thinks it's the best drumming. He says I've never drummed like that before or since. I think he says something magical happened in that track. He always says, and I always hear him say Rain is his
Mm.
song.
Oh,
Favorite
the
song.
best. I mean, one of the best double A sided. Well, it wasn't a double A. It should have been a double A sided single, but it could have been. I mean, that's how strong both songs are. And I probably play Rain a lot more than I do Paperback Writer. Although those live versions of Paperback Writer, I know that they couldn't do it, justice. But it's cool to hear now, like when they did those concerts in '66, doing
Yeah.
Paperback Writer, kind of where they're screaming a little bit. It's just
I like, and especially when Paul, the mic won't stay still, and it's like Paperback Writer.
yeah, and he grabs it. And
Look, he's mad at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was some of the shows in Japan, right? In Budokan.
Yeah, the one with the black suits, particularly.
Yeah,
with
Budokan.
the
Budokan.
microphone won't stay still.
The Budokan shows. So, yeah, a hell of a 1-2 punch. I always like to say Revolver is the first true progressive rock album. I think I stand by that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's just so many different genres, like we talked about, last night on this record, as well as what Joe mentioned about the White Album as well. I mean, I think these two albums are just so flourished with different genres on one album. Even more so on the White Album because it's a double disc. But man, I mean, between like you said, progressive rock, psych rock, world music, R&B, power pop, chamber music, electronic. I mean, there's just so much going on with this one. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, whenever I'm talking about Abbey Road, that's my favorite album. Whenever I talk about the White Album, that's my favorite album.
Well, yeah,
whenever
right.
I'm talking about Revolver, I mean, it's usually comes down to those three albums. So right now, Revolver is my favorite album. I mean,
Magical Mystery Tour is one of mine, believe it or not.
I believe it. Listen,
see the appeal
you have
to
13 albums to choose from, and they're all individually great on their own. Listen, we could be having this conversation 2 years from now about A Hard Day's Night, and we're going to elevate that thing where it should, because listen, as I've often said,
somebody did.
The worst Beatles song is light years better than the best Rolling Stones song. There it is.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
I won't go along with that. I won't go along with that.
That's a fact.
I think Satisfaction might be better than Wild Honey Pie.
Nope. There's the Beatles, and then there's everybody.
Well, generally speaking, I agree with that, but I won't take it song for song.
Oh, I will. Sorry.
Anyways, but this has been a great time, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this discussion about Revolver, and we all of us, I'm sure, here watching and listening, we can't wait for this set to come out. I know us three here, we're dying for this set to come out and hear how much more the bass and drums come up, right? Because that's been really the big thing for me. Revelation from these sets have always
bass and drums.
The bass and drum,
yeah.
And one thing about Paperback Writer, I should also say, I don't like that with harsh stereo. I don't like a lot of that when it's like Paperback Writer, and you hear the guitar on the side and the vocal comes over there. I want it that one. I want all in your face.
Right.
Mono, strong in your face.
Okay.
Straight on, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, can I do a little plug? I mean, very short.
Yes, let's do this.
A lot of you are probably revolvered out about now. I know I am, but I'm going to be coming back here at 8 o'clock, which is just a little over a half an hour on my channel to do my show, which is kind of going to be the same thing, more or less, a Revolver show, talking about all this stuff that we just talked about with some others, maybe some other surprise guests coming on too, in addition. So if you want to do that, please feel free at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, about a little more than a half hour from now, over at the channel, Mean Mr. Mayo, and we'll do it again and pretend we're just talking about it for the first time, saying a lot of the same things.
There you go. Andy, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I'm waiting for that official announcement, and I'm going to probably go listen to a few copies of Revolver tonight.
Excellent. So let's hope this isn't the last announcement for the fall. Let's hope that we're still going to get something from Paul. Let's hope we're still going to get something from John. And yeah, absolutely. And Joe, thank you for being here, my friend. Appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Thanks. Anytime.
Thank you,
me
Joe.
Anytime.
All right, everyone out there, great seeing you once again, and we will see you next time. Take care.
See ya.
Have a great day and a beautiful night.